All right, evaluate composite functions. So we have two functions here. We have f of x and g of x. And you can see what their equation is. And we have down here f composite g of 10. So you'll hear people say fog, because it looks like it says fog. And I'm going to go to the board. So here's the equations written down. And here's our fog of 10. When you have fog, really what you're doing is you're just putting in this number in for the number that's, or the formula that's closest to it first, and then you put that number into the one that's furthest away. So you basically just write a parenthesis here and here. And it's going to be g of 10. And once you get a number out of that, you put that number into f. Okay? So we're going to put 10 into g. So we get 10 squared minus 7 times 10. Okay? This is 100. This is 70. So this is equal to 30. So now this is our value, 30. We're going to plug into our f function. So 30 goes into here. I'm going to write it down here so I have more space. 3 times 30 is our x, plus 10, plus 2 on the outside. So 3 times 30 is 90, plus 10 is 100. Square root of 100 is 10. 10 times 3 is 30. 30 plus 2 is 32. All right, question 2. All right, question 2. We have f of t, h of n. So the variables are different, but don't let that freak you out. It's the same thing. Use h of n and use our n values. It's just like having an x. And they wrote it in a way that we're actually going to be able to look at it a little bit easier. So this negative 1 to h first, and then it goes into f. So I have it written down. Boom, right here. So negative 1 goes in up here. So we have negative 2, negative 1 squared. That's going to turn positive, don't forget. Minus 3 times negative 1 plus 1. So this is positive 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. And then plus 1. So we have a 4 minus 2 is 2. So 2 goes in up here. And we have t's in both spots. So 2 times t is 4 plus 7 is 11. Over 4 minus 3 is 1. 11 over 1. Sorry, that's a mistake. I said 4 for some reason. We have a 2. So it's 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So we're going to have a negative 11. I don't know why I said 4 there. That was weird. You know where 4 came from. There's not a 4 on the board. All right, question 3. Okay, I think I can do some in my head. So we're going into f first. See, 6 goes into f. So 6 plus 8 is 14. And then we're going to have 14 times negative 1/4. So 14 up top. So that's what we have out of the top one. 14 over negative 4, which is equal to 7 over 2. Now that's going to go into the next one. So I guess I can't do it in my head. Well, I could, but I don't want to lose you guys. Okay, so I wrote down the next equation. So we're doing 2/3 times negative 7/2. So when you multiply fractions, it's not that hard. You just do 2 times 7 is negative 14. And 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1. This 1, let's rewrite it into a fraction where we have it over 6. So if we multiply both by 6, we get 6 over 6. Negative 14 plus 6 gives us negative 8 over 6. And this simplifies to negative 4 over 3. Let's see if that's right. And we are. Last question. Ooh, we got an exponent one. So 2 is going to go into f first. So 2 goes up here. So 2 minus 4 is negative 2. So we have 3 times 2 to the negative 2 power. So I have that written right here. So what happens here, we have a negative sign. This negative sign basically just becomes a fraction. And we put a 1 over the top. So we have 3 times 1 over 2 squared, which that equals, we put 3 on top now. 3 and 2 squared is 4. So 3/4 is that answer. 3/4 goes into G. So I wrote in my 3/4 for the x for our g function. We have 1 plus 3/4. Once again, we want to add these fractions together, so we're going to make them both in the same denominator. We multiply both by 4. We get 4 over 4. So 4 plus 3 is 7 over 4. And we have a 1 on top. Okay. Now, how do we solve this? Well, we can always rewrite this whole number as a fraction, so 1 over 1. Now we have two fractions being divided. When you divide fractions, you take the bottom fraction and you write it back up here, but you flip it. So the denominator becomes the numerator, and the numerator becomes the denominator. And you multiply. Well, 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 7 is 7. So another fraction. And we're done.